able to see the screen?
Yeah.
Now, so this is the program that we discussed for pyramid. Okay, let's do it for inverted pyramid as well. The same logic will work. Like, so just a small change is equal to 1, 2, and or equal to 5. Yes. Okay, let me run this program. Yeah. So this is the logic. I didn't change the outer loop because 5 times, so 5 lines we need to print. So the outer loop will be the same, but whereas inner loop, we have to first try for maximum limit. So from j is equal to 5 and j is greater than or equal to I. So there is a small change in the inner loop logic. That's it. So initially here for normal pyramid, we took j is equal to I and j greater than 0. But whereas in inverted pyramid, I took j as 5. I initialized j to 5 and I'm checking if j is greater than or equal to I. So until that condition is satisfied, we have to run this loop. So initial value of j is 5. It will check the condition here. 5 is greater than or equal to 1. So it will come inside and print the star. So this loop will be repeated for 5 times. So 5 times the asterisk symbol will be printed. So once the j value is equal to I value, we are decrementing j, right? So once the j value is equal to I value, it will come out of this loop and it will go to the new line. Again, then for the next time, the I value will be incremented by 1. It will be 2 now. So again, it will enter into the inner loop. J is equal to 5 and j greater than or equal to 2. So this time the loop will be repeated 4 times only and it will print asterisk for 4 times. And once this condition is false, it will come out of this inner loop and it will enter into the new line. So this is how the inverted pyramid works. Is it clear?
Yeah.
This, okay. All of you, is it clear? Inverted pyramid?
Yes.
Okay. So switch case, were you able to try that one switch case or should I write? Okay, I'll write that program as well. Switch arithmetic. I'll take two variables here. If A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 5. Okay. And the string operand is equal to, suppose let me take plus over here. And now based on operand, I want to switch on OP. Based on this operand, I want to switch. Case, if it is equal to plus, then okay, let me okay, system dot out dot println. The Okay. And now I want to break this case. In next case, similarly, I want to write it for minus. We break for multiplication. Break this case. Break this. Modulo of two numbers. Default, what we have to do, invalid operand. Okay, so this is what we have to do. Let me save this program. So now the output will be the line number 11. So we are using the plus operand here. So the output is, this case will be executed and the output will be the addition of two numbers is A plus B. Let me run this program. So it printed this. If I change my operand here, let me change it to multiplication. Okay, save and run this program. It is 50. So based on this operand, the output will be generated. Is it clear, all of you?
Yes, yes.
Oh. Okay, quickly we'll jump into the hoops concepts. Now in today's session, we'll see how to create a class, how to create an object, how to create a method. So these three things we'll be seeing today. Let me suppose I'm creating a class A, B, C. This is my class name. So how you should give the class name is, so whenever you're creating a class, right? So I'm creating a new class. Whatever name I give here, that will be the class name. That will be the class name. So whatever I give here, that will be my file name, whatever the file name I am giving, and whatever class name here I am getting, both will be the same. Suppose, see, so this is switch arithmetic. So that is a file name as well. So switch arithmetic. So when I created a new class, whatever the name I gave there, that will be my file name. So with this name only, this code will be saved, and also that is the class name. So why it is happening like this? So whatever in Java, it is a convention. It is mandatory that the file name and the class name should be the same, should be the same. So now my file name is switch arithmetic. I want to, let me try to give another name for my class. So I give like this and try to save it. It will not allow me because it will throw me an error. The public type switch arithmetic 123 must be defined in its own file name. So the file name and the class name both should be the same. It will not allow you to give any other name. Okay, so let me try to create a new class over here and show you. I'm creating a class, and this class, for this class, let me give. So this is my dummy class. Okay, and now clicking on finish, I gave the class name as dummy. And now if you see, the file name also will be dummy. Both the class name and the file name both will be the same. It will not be changed. Let me see this. See here, this is my class name and this is the file name. Both are same. It won't, so it will not allow you to create any new class name or new file name. If you try to modify this file name here, let me rename this file. Second, rename option will be there. Yeah, rename. If I try to rename this file, let me try to give 123 over here and click on finish. It changed both class name and file name. Here, if I try to modify, it will be modified in the class name as well. If you see here also, it has been updated as dummy 123. If so, let me try only here. It is selecting this checkbox like update references, whatever things that are referring to this file, all those things will be updated. Let me click on next. So compilation unit, dummy 3 Java to dummy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Java. So if I click on finish, so everything will be updated. Whatever, so what and all are referring to this file name, all those things will be updated. So class name and the file name both should be same. It will not allow you to give different names for class and file. Why it is like that? So previously, so when we used to write the code in Notepad and run it using command prompt. So we used to write our code in previously how it was like. We used to write our program in Notepad and save it as, so whatever code we want to write, we will be typing it in Notepad and save that file with whatever the class name with the extension .java. We'll save the file like this, suppose abc.java. So write the script in code in Notepad and save it as abc.java with the class name. And what we, so in order to compile or run the program, we used to run the command prompt. I'm not able to get it. Let me check. It's not installed in my machine. Actually, it is not installed in machine. So it will, command prompt will be like this. So here we go to the C folder, wherever the program is stored. Suppose I have saved my file in C colon. So in my C drive, I have saved my program abc.java. So we have to navigate to that folder wherever I have saved this program. And then I have to run these commands. Like first thing what I have to do is java c space abc.java. First command is java c space abc.java. So this command will help us to compile our program. So it will compile our program. That means it will, what and all compilation means it will do two tasks. One is if there are any syntax errors, it will throw it in the output, syntax errors. And the next thing is it will convert our .java program into .class file. Whatever .java file is there, that will be, if there are no syntax errors, it will be converted into .class file. This is the command that we used to run in order to compile our program. But now in Eclipse, don't need to run this command. It will be automatically done for us. So it will help us to find the syntax errors, and automatically it will, once there are no syntax errors, it will be automatically converted into .class file. No need to run these commands. So this and all we used to do previously. Okay. Now, once the compilation is done, we have to run our program. For that, we will be doing like this. Java ABC. Java space ABC. Whatever file name we gave, that file name. So this command we run for executing our program. In order to see our result, we used to run this program. We used to run this command. So these are the commands that we used to run in order to compile our program and to execute our program. This was the previous thing that we used to do. I would have shown you, but it is not installed in my machine, I think so. I'll definitely show you how we do that command. So here itself, we will type Java C space. So we will first, so currently here it is in C folder, users in C users, and in users folder, it is in JOEMC path. So this is the path, current execution path. But we'll navigate to the place where, to the folder where our Java file is present. Once it is done, then we will run these commands, like just type Java C space, whatever the file name, .java in order to compile our program. Once the compilation is success, if you want to see the results, we will run this command Java space file name. Whatever file name is there, that file name we will be running. So that will display the result here itself. So this was the previously that we used to do before Eclipse. This is what we used to do. Now here, in this case, why we are saving our file name with the class name, that we want to understand. So compiler will be sitting in some other location. We don't know the other location where it is sitting, but it has to identify our class. So as of now, my program is in C drive. My compiler I have, so compiler is also a program, and that will be installed in your machine when you install this Java. So this compiler, suppose it is in D drive. It is available in D drive. It has to understand this class. So this class, wherever it is there, the compiler is in another drive also, but it has to identify this class and execute our program. So that's the reason, whatever class name we are giving, with the same name, we used to save the file. So the class name and the file name both are the same. In order for the compiler to understand that this is the file, this is the class, we gave the class name and file name as same. So if there is any deviation with the class name and the file name, then the compiler will not identify that class and it will throw an error. So that is the reason, for the compiler understanding purpose, we give the class name and file name as same. So this commands, so Java C space abc.java and Java space abc, it has to understand the class. So that is the reason the file name and class name we will be giving as same. It will not allow, the compiler will not allow. So in the compiler, they have designed in such a way that the file name and the class name should be the same. Okay. So here, whatever the file name you give, that only will be the class name. So this is how we define a class. So this is how we create a class, dummy class. Any doubts how to create a class and why we have to give the same class name, same name for class and file?
No, understood.
Okay. Now, we have created a class. We have created a blueprint. Now for this class, we need to create an object. How to create an object? It's a simple thing. Observe carefully. I'll write the syntax first. Class name, space, variable name. This variable only we call it as object. So for what? For a class, whatever variable we are assigning, that we call it as an object. I'll tell you, is equal to new class name. So for this class, what is the class name? ABC. ABC, the variable. whatever I want to give. Suppose I am giving A is equal to new class name. What is the class name? ABC. Sorry, here we have to give the brackets like this, ABC. So this is the syntax for creating an object. I have created my object for this class, which is A. This is the object. Object for this class. This is the class. For this class, I have created an object. This is the syntax for creating an object for any class. So first you have what you have to do. First is the class name, whatever is the class name, ABC. Next variable. So whatever name you want to give, you can give. Here I gave A. So this will act as an object now.
Yeah.
Okay. Is equal to new. New keyword will help us in assigning, in allocating the memory. New keyword will help us in allocating memory. Whenever a class is whenever we are creating an object, we have to first inform the compiler saying that this is the class and we are trying to create an object for it. Allocate memory for this, for creation of this object. So new will help us in allocating the memory. Okay. So this is the new keyword. And finally, what we have to give? Class name.
Class name.
Class name with open and close brackets. And our object creation is done. This is how we create an object for a particular class. Is it clear, all of you? Syntax, is it clear? Okay. Now, we'll see some examples. Now, let's see how to create a method, how to create a task. A method. So, in other words, method is nothing but a task, a particular task. How to create that? Suppose this is my class ABC. Okay. Method is nothing but a task. So how I have to create a task? I want to create a task like this. For adding two numbers, I want to create a separate method. So what I'll do, I'll specify this access modifier, public or private or whatever it might be, access modifier, then return type. After doing any task, if I want to return anything, that return type. So what will be the return type? Return type will be the data type only. That means I can return integer value. I can return floating value. I can return an array. I can return double. I can return string. Suppose if I am adding two numbers, A and B, whatever is the result, so if these are integer variables, the result also will be an integer. And whatever result I am getting, I want to return this one. I want to return this one. Okay, so that will be my return type. Return type is nothing but whatever I want to return after performing a particular task. Here, what is the task that I'm doing? I'm adding two numbers. After adding two numbers, I got the result. That result I want to return to. So whomever is asking this one, whomever is asking to perform this A plus B, to that place, I want to return the result. Suppose in my code, here at line number 10, I want to perform, this is the line number 10, I want to perform A plus B addition operation. And whatever is the result, I want to get that. So I want to get the result as well. So what I'll do, first if I am calling this addition here, and I want to return some value, that returned value I will be using at line number 10. So that is why we have to specify the return type. So whomever is calling this particular task, addition operation, so what at line number 10, I want to perform this addition operation, or at line number 100, I want to perform this addition operation. I'm calling this particular method. This particular method, I want to do it. So after doing that addition operation, I want to return the result. I want to return the result. So whatever is the result output, that I have to specify the type over here. So the return type is nothing but whatever result we are sending, the type of that result. Okay. So that we have to specify it here. Let me remove these things. I'll write it again. Don't do it. Okay. So first one is the access modifier, public or private, whatever you want to give. Next one is the return type. So in return type, we have one more thing which is called void. Void means if I don't want to return anything, return nothing, then I have to specify it as void. Void is nothing but if I don't want to return anything. If I want to return anything, I'll specify these types. Whatever is the data type of my result, that I will be specifying. If I don't want to return anything, I'll say I'll give the return type as void. If it is void means I don't want to return anything. I'm not returning anything. So public void, I don't want to return anything. The method name. Next, this is the return type. If I don't want to return anything. Next is the method name. Suppose I'm giving my method name as sum. This is the method name. Sorry. This is the method name. The name that we are giving. The name that we are giving to this method, like how we gave the name for this class, the same way I'm giving a name to the method. This is my method. So this is my method. I'm giving the name to this method. Okay. After that, open and close brackets. And here, the body of my method will start. This is the body of my method. Whatever I want to do inside this sum, I want to calculate A plus B, or whatever I want to perform, I'll be performing it here inside this body. And I gave it as void. That means I'm not returning anything. Okay. So let's see one small example. This is how we create a method. This is how we created a method. Already we have seen one method. We have seen one method. Let me close this one. See, here you have seen one method, public static void main. What is this string args? This is a string array. I'll tell you about this one. What is this? So this is the main method, public static void main. This is one method. We have already seen this one. I'll explain you each and every word of what is this public static void main. Everything. Okay. Public static void main of string array. String args. This is the default method that will be created for each and every Java class. If you want to create, if you want to run that program, okay. Why this line public static void main is designed like this? Why it is like this? Okay, we'll see one by one. Public. What is public? It is an access modifier. Access modifier, where if you define a method or a variable or a class as public, it will be accessed everywhere. It can be accessed everywhere. Everywhere it can be accessed by anyone, it can be accessed. Everyone. So the compiler, whenever when we are running a program like this, what will happen? The compiler will start its execution from this method. It will start execution from this method, wherever this method it might be. It might be at line number 100 or line number 1000 or wherever it might be. The compiler is designed in such a way that it will start its execution from public static void main method. Why it is designed like that? Why it is like this public static void main, and why is compiler identifying only this line and it is starting its execution from this line? Why it is happening like that? So public means this method will be accessed by anyone and everywhere. So my program, if it is in C folder also, if it is in C folder also, it has to be accessed. It has to be visible by the compiler. Compiler, it may be either in D drive or E drive, whatever it might be, wherever it might be. It has to be accessed. This method has to be visible to the compiler. That is why we give the access modifier for this method as, for main method as public. Public, if we give it as public only, then only this method will be visible for the compiler. Compiler will always starts its execution from this line. This line, what it may be at line number 100 or line number 5 or line number 1000, wherever it might be in our program, the compiler, it will start its execution from this particular line. The compiler is designed in such a way that first its execution has to start from this line. And why this line is like this, we will see one by one. So first is public. Why we give as public? Because this method has to be visible for compiler. So if I give it as private or any other modifier, private or default, it cannot be accessible for compiler. Compiler will not be able to find this main method because it is not public. It is not visible for the compiler. Wherever, so in order to make it visible for compiler, wherever it might be, so we have installed in Java in C folder, and I'm writing this piece of code in my D drive or wherever it might be. That has to be visible for the compiler. In order to make it visible, we give the access modifier for this main method as public. Clear? Okay, we'll see about this static later. And first we'll see the return type. The return type here is void. Why we gave the return type as void? If it is no other than void, if it is either int or float or something like this, so the compiler is calling this method, the compiler is accessing this method. And if I specify either int or float other than void, if I specify anything, this method will return any, so if I specify int, this method has to return int to the compiler. If I'm returning anything, what does that, so with that value, what will the compiler do? It has nothing to do with the return value, right? So if I return int, what does the compiler do with that return value? It won't do anything. The compiler doesn't need anything that is returned by this main method. It cannot do anything. So that is why they gave the return type as void, that we don't need to return any value to the compiler because compiler is calling this method. If I specify any integer or float as my return type, I have to return some value. If I return some value, the compiler cannot do anything with that return value. There is no use of returning any value to the compiler. So that is why the return type of the main method will always be void. It will not be either int or float or any other data type. We won't return anything to the compiler. So that is why we specify the return type as void. Okay. And this is the method name, main. Why it is main? In the compiler, they have designed it like that. So main should be the method name. So that is why this is the method name, main. This is the method name, main. So compiler will identify this line because the method name is main. So compiler is designed in such a way. Okay. Now we'll come back to static. What is the static? Static is nothing but it is something which is related to the class. It is not related to object. It is related to class. Static means it is related to class. And for this, in order to access this method, no need of creating object. So any method in a class, if you want to access it, we can access it only using the object. If you don't use static keyword here, static here, in order to access this main method, we have to create an object. First create an object and then after the object creation only we can access this method. But static is not like that. Static is related to class and it is not related to object. So it doesn't need any object creation. It doesn't need any object creation. Without creating an object, directly we can access this static. Directly we can access this static. If it is static, we don't need to create any object. Directly using the class, we can access it. See, this method is directly, public static void main is directly accessed by the compiler. We are not creating any object for this class. Are we creating any object for this class? Am I
No.
right? Anything like this? Like, so whatever, what is the syntax of object creation? Class name,
Object
variable is, say, okay, I'll give like this is equal to new switch
class name.
automatic. So I'm not doing that one. So without creation of object, I'm able to I'm able to run this program. I'm able to execute this program. Why? Because it is static. If it is static, it doesn't need any object creation. If it is not static, then definitely I have to create an object to that class, and using that object, I have to access that method. So compiler is automatically identifying this method means before creating an object means it is because of that. It is because of static. It doesn't need any object creation directly with the class name. It is identifying. And how the compiler is knowing that? How the compiler is identifying with the class name? Because for compilation, we have this thing, right? In order to compile our program, we will be specifying the class. Java C space file name abc.java, right? So here it will get the class name. So using this class name, it will identify this method. So using this class name, it will identify this method. So if it is a static method, no need to create any object. Using the class name, we will be able to access this method. Okay. So that is about public static void main. Is it clear till now? What is public? Why we are using public static void main? How the compiler is identifying this method, and how the executions will always starts from this method. It is because the compiler is designed in that way. From this line only, the execution has to be started. And the compiler is, wherever the compiler it might be located, it will identify this method in this class, because for the compilation, this is the command that will be executed. Based on this command, it will identify the file name, class name, and in that class, it will identify this public static void main. And from this main method only, the execution will start. You may have n number of methods in your class, but the execution will always starts from this method, main method, public static void main. And why this string of args is there, I'll explain you. This is the string array that I will explain you. Till now, public static void main, is it clear for all of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you please explain main?
This is the name that they have given. So for any class, see, for this class, I have given switch arithmetic, right?
Okay.
For method also, I'll give some name. Why this is main only? The compiler is designed in such a way. It has to be main.
Okay.
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 Any other doubts? You have to understand these keywords properly, then only going forward it will be easy. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Or if you feel that I am going fast, you can ask me again to repeat. All of you, is it clear?
No problem.
Main is the just method name, right?
Yes, just it is a method name.
Okay.
Method name.
Okay.
Any other doubts? Okay. So we'll see why that string of args is there. So I'll be going forward, I'll be going to use public static void main in shortcut. Public static void main. This is the shortcut that I'll be using of string args. String array. This is an array, and this is the name given to that array. Args is the variable name. So why it is designed like this? This is my main method. Compiler will start its execution from here. So in this only, so suppose ABC is a class ABC. Okay. In this method only, I'll be creating an object for this class. So A is equal to new ABC. This is the object creation. And if I have any other methods, suppose I have one more method here, public void dummy method. So dummy method I have here. I want to access this method. Okay. I want to access this method directly. Compiler will identify only this method and it will start execution. So from here till here. So it will start and complete its execution here itself. So if I want to access this method, public void dummy, I have to use this object. How I can access this dummy method? You gave the object, use the dot operator. So if you use the dot operator, it will show you what and all methods are available. From that, you can access dummy. So when you give like this object dot method name, then only the execution, if it is in line number 5 and it is line number 100, the execution will come here. Okay, at this point line, suppose here I am printing system.out.println dummy method. This is my method, dummy method. This is my method body. So it will execute all the lines which are available in this enemy method. Once it reaches the end of this method, this method is completed. Again, it will return to line number 6. Is it clear? The compiler will execute only the lines between public static void main method. In this method only, whatever you want to do, you can do it. So from line number 5, I am switching to line number 100. And here, if I am calling some other method, suppose there is another method, public void demo. So this is one more method. So here I can call it like this. So object is already created. So a.demo. So just object dot that method name, if you give, it will directly going to this method. So what it will execute all the lines here. And once this method is completed, it will come here and continue its execution. So we have already seen, as it is object oriented programming. OOPS is an object oriented programming language. So we can navigate from line number 6 to line number 100 or line number 1000 to line number 50. So wherever you want, you can move it just by using the object. Create an object for your class. And if you want to access any method, you can just use object dot that method name. You can do whatever you want. You can play with the objects. You can play with the methods, what and all you have in your class. So whatever you want, you can access it. Is it clear? This is the main advantage of object. It will allow you to create a method or a particular task. So in dummy method, whatever you want to do, you can do it. If you want to use n number of times, you can use it. Suppose I have used this dummy method here. I want to use at line number 10 or 15, again that dummy method, I can call it. N number of times I can make use of this method by just calling it using the object. Once I create an object to this class, then using that object, I can use that method. I can perform that task n number of times wherever I want to do it. So this is how we reduce the code by using the concept of objects. It will help us for code reusability. Yes, someone is asking some doubt.
No.
Is it clear, all of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we'll see what is this string. Let me remove this. I'll create it again. Public static void main string arguments. Previously, what used to happen is, for compilation, we used Java C space file name dot Java. Suppose if this is ABC dot Java. This is for compilation. This is class ABC. Okay. And for execution, Java space ABC. After this, so this is enough for execution. But if I want to pass any values to this method, any values. So at runtime, if I want to, suppose I want to add two numbers. I want to add two numbers. That two numbers I want to pass it here. Like I want to add 10 and 20. These two numbers I want to add. So after this class, just give a space and whatever I want to perform, suppose I want to perform addition operation of these two. So whatever I give, that will be stored in the string array. So that string array is this one. So this arguments will store whatever values I'm passing it here. I can pass any values for execution. Suppose I want to add 10 and 20, I'm passing it here itself. So how can I do that? I can access them. So this will be args of 0 and this will be args of 1. So how many number of values you want to pass, you can pass it here. And all these values will be captured in arguments of in this string array. In this string array, they will be getting stored. So this I'm performing it using the command prompt, CMD command prompt, and that I'm going to use it in my Java program. So whatever values I pass it after this command line, after this execution statement, after Java space ABC, whatever I want to pass, I can pass it, and that will be stored in this string array. In this string array, they will be stored. And now if I want to make use of them, I can make use of it just by indexing concept. So this will be stored in arguments of 0. This will be stored in arguments of 1. So making use of that, I can perform that. So arguments of 0 plus arguments of 1. So this is how I'll be performing the addition operation. And if I want to print it in my console, I can print it like this. So so at command line so this is the execution that is done in the command prompt. CMD stands for command. So using the command line, we are passing the arguments. So this type of arguments, we call them as command line arguments. Arguments means whatever values that we are passing to any method. Arguments means any values that we are passing to a method. Passing to any method. That we call it as arguments. What is meant by argument? Any value that we are passing to a method. So if you are passing through command line, then those kind of arguments, we call them as command line arguments. So at runtime, I want to pass some values and I want to access those values in my method. I can use it using like this. I can make use of it like this. I'll show you how we can do that as well. So for now, this is about the string array. So I can not only integers, I can pass any strings as well. So here I can pass hello or whatever it might be. And this will be stored in arguments of 2. So string means not only so everything, even if I give like this also, it will be stored as string. If I pass it 20 also, it will be stored as string, right? So whatever, everything will be stored in the format of string. No need to give quotations. Here, no need to give quotations. Sorry for that. So whatever you pass here, even a word or a sentence or whatever it might be, it will be stored in the form of strings only. In the form of strings only, it will be stored. If you want to access them, this is how you can access it using the indexing concept of array. Is it clear, all of you? I'll show you how we can use them. Still now, is it clear why we use string of args at runtime? Why we need to pass these arguments at runtime? You may get it doubt. Suppose, example, I'll say at runtime, I want to say something like this, like I want to run all my scripts in Chrome browser. In Chrome browser, I want to run all my scripts. Or in Firefox, I want to run all my scripts. I can give that here. Like I can give Java space ABC. If I give Chrome and if I use switch here in my program, switch off arguments of 0. So whatever I pass here, based on that, I can switch. So here in my cases, I can write if it is Chrome, if the value is Chrome, I can start the Chrome browser. If the case value is Firefox, I can start the Firefox browser. So based on whatever I pass here, I can write a switch case here. Based on that, start my Chrome browser or Firefox browser. So at runtime, if I want to pass any value, that I can do it like this, using the command line arguments. Okay, I'll show you one example, then it will be clear for you. Let me create a program. So that is why I'm selecting this checkbox over here, public static void main. So this method I have to select in order for our execution to start. Okay, that is why we select this checkbox here. Now click on finish. Okay, I want to make use of these arguments. So what I will do, for int I is equal to 0, I less than r. This is a array, right? So I can use the length method. So till that length method I can do it. Now I want to print the values. Okay, args of 1, args of I. So whatever I am passing it here, all those, just I'm traversing to through argument string array. So this is the uh, loop that we use for accessing each and every element of an array, right? So I have initialized, I have taken a variable I and initialized it to 0, and I'm checking the condition, like if it is, if the I value is less than the length of that array. So as this is a string array and whose name is args, so args, for this args I'm checking the length, and I'm checking this condition I is less than args dot length and I plus plus, and for each and every value of I am printing the array element. Okay, now I want to run this using the command prompt. How I can do is just select it, right click, run as, run configurations. If you go here, you will have run configuration, select it. Here you have this arguments, go to that arguments. I think arguments only. Your Vx arguments. I am giving the values. Okay. Suppose I am giving this values here. This is the first element of an of the array. The second element I'm passing it this like this. The third element I'm passing it like this. Fourth element like this. So these are 4 different elements. I'm passing it through command line. So initially, if it is a command prompt, we used to do like that, Java space file name space arguments. But here in Eclipse, no need to give Java space file name. Directly, I can give these elements. It will be stored in the, it will be stored in args of 0. So whatever I give here, values I give here, I provide here, that will be stored in the args. And I'm accessing all those values using the for loop like this. So I'm, instead of writing the, so I'll show you the difference. Let me save this, apply and run this one. So this is for switch arithmetic, but for which program I want to access this. Let me copy this one. I want to access this for which method, which program, where is that program? Command line, where it is? It is not showing here. So let me, for now, let me run this normally. As there are no elements, let me check the configuration again. Yeah, now it is shown. So at least once we should run this program, then only it will show it here. So now go to arguments, and I'll paste these arguments here. Now, what is the output that you can see here? It is all these values you will be able to see in the output. So let me apply this one and click on run. Class not found exception. Okay. It's not needed actually. Let me Let me give apply. It's not deal. Okay, let me give the correct path. Just a minute. Medium arguments are program organization. Mm. Sorry for that confusion. Actually, it is program arguments. Select the program, right click, run as, go to the run configurations. In run configuration, you select the program, whatever you want to run. It will list you all the programs here. So from Java application, you select the program which you want to run through command prompt, which you want to pass the arguments. Then go to the arguments tab. Here you will be able to see this arguments tab. Go to that arguments tab, and here you will have two columns, two things that you can specify, which is program arguments and VM arguments. So here in program arguments, whatever arguments you pass, that will be automatically stored in this args arguments string array, and that I am accessing it using the for loop. Okay, now if you click on run, it will be running like this. Here you have one more option, show command line. If you click on that, so see here, command line. So this is the program, and these are the arguments that it is passing. So internally, it is doing the same thing, like it is navigating to the path where the class is available. Then it is running this program using, so this is the folder. This is the class name where it is available. In basics package, command line is the program. So basics dot command line is the program. And then after that, we are passing the arguments. It is similar to what we have seen here, like for executing our program, what is the command that we run? Java space file name, right? Java space file name. Suppose if here we have taken command line. This is the file name. Space arguments. So if I want to pass the arguments like this, Vasvik, Shivansh, like this. So all these things after the file name will be stored in the command line arguments, in the arguments. In this string array, it will be stored. This is arguments of 0. This is arguments of 1. Why here it has, so it went to the package level. So basics is the package. In this package, we have command line. So basics dot command line. That is what it is taking here. So basics dot command line is the program name. After that, it is passing the arguments value. This is how it will be run internally. Okay. So here we are passing these arguments. That arguments will be stored here in this string array. And this string array, if you want to make use of that values, I will be navigating through each and every element of this array and make use of it if you want. Is it clear, all of you, how we use this command line arguments? We don't use this generally, but if I want to show you how we can access the elements of this string array, and previously when we used to do with command line argument, at that point it was useful, but now we don't use we don't pass any values through command line. But I want to show you how we can pass these arguments and how we can make use of that arguments. Is it clear, all of you? Any doubts in this? I'm not able to hear you.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So suppose now, let me, okay, we'll start. So that's about the basics. So in OOPS concepts, let me create a new class, object demo, and let me create public static void main. So in this, apart from this main method, let me create one more method here. So public void, I don't want to return anything. Okay, I will create a demo method, system.out.println. We'll say inside demo. Okay, and here I'll print in main method. This is main method. Okay, let me save this and run this program. Can somebody tell me what will be the output? Can somebody tell me what will be the output of this program? Just give a try.
First main method will be executed.
Oh, so main method will be executed and this line will be printed. This is a main method. Okay, so let me run. Okay, it didn't went into this method because as we studied, so compiler will execute the lines which are in this main method only. So I'm not calling this method. I'm not calling this method. So this method is not called and it didn't execute this. If I want to call this method, what I have to do? I have to create an object to this class. And using that object, I have to call this method. So for that, what I will do? Let me first create an object to this class. How I can create? Class name, variable. So D is OD. Okay, is equal to new object demo. So object creation is done. So using this object, I have to call this method. So how I can call? Sorry. OD dot. If you give dot, it will give lot of methods over here. So these are already predefined methods. I don't want to make use of that. I will use whatever the method I have created, demo. We will see few of them later, point of time. But for now, I'll make use of the method which I have created. Demo is the method which I have created. So which is returning me void. That means it is not going to return anything. Okay. So this is the thing that I'll be using it. Now, once I call this method at line number 8, the execution will go to this method. It will execute all these lines and again it will come to line number 9. So let me show you that as well. So after line number 8, let me print after calling demo method. Okay. Can somebody tell the output now? Which will be the first line that will be printed in the output, which will be the second line and which will be the third line? Sorry, your voice is breaking.
First main, then after calling demo method, then inside demo.
So we are calling at line number 8 itself, right? So we are
Yes.
calling this demo method at line number 8. So it will jump to line number, so this line to this method and it will execute this line. After executing this, it will go to line number 9. So first, this is main method will be printed, then inside demo, and after that, after calling demo method will be printed. Is it clear? Let me do that. This is main method inside demo and after calling demo method. So once we write this line, it will jump into this method. It will execute this line, this code, this method, and after that only it will resume its execution. After that only it will continue with the rest of the lines in this method. So whenever we call this method, it will as soon as we call this method, it will go to this method. Once it is completed, the execution here it is completed, then only it will come to line number 9. Okay, is it clear? The one who answered.
Yes, it's clear.
So this is just a demo for today. I have shown for how we can create an object and how we can create a method. Okay. So for the next session, what you will do is I have a exercise program for you to practice. So I'll be posting it in group as well. Practice that program. Okay. What is that is just you try. If you're not able to get it, no issues. We will discuss in the session. But what I want to do is, I want you to do is create methods. Create methods for addition, addition, subtraction. Like for all the arithmetic operations, you create methods. Division, multiplication, and modulo. For all these methods, you create method. For all these tasks, you create separate methods. Create separate methods for arithmetic operations. And perform the tasks like for if you are calling addition means you have to perform the addition operation. If you are calling the subtraction means you have to perform the subtraction operation. If you are performing division means you have to perform the division. If you are calling this method means you have to perform that particular operation. So in main method, public static void main method, you define two variables. Int a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 2 or 5, whatever values you want to take, you take it. And now you call each and every method. You call addition. Pass these two variables. How you can pass, I'll tell you. Pass these two variables, perform the addition, and you call. So whenever you call this method will be called and it will perform the addition, and the result it has to return. Call this method, it will perform the addition of these two variables, and whatever is the result, it has to be returned to the main method. So wherever it is calling, there it has to return the result. The same way for subtraction. Same way for division, multiplication, and modulo. So for all these things, you pass only these two variables, a and b only. Here also you'll pass a and b. Here also you'll pass a and b. Whatever is the result, output, that has to be returned here. Okay. How to pass the values, I'll show you. Suppose I want to pass some value to this method. Suppose I want to pass some string value, or okay, let me take a variable here. Let me take a string variable. String str is equal to hello. This value I want to pass to this method. Okay, this variable value I want to pass to this method. How I can pass? Just here you can pass this variable, and here this is the, so what is the type of this string, right? So here I am capturing it in string S. I can make use of it like this. Whatever value we are passing here, that will be stored in this variable yes. So here I am passing string variable str, whose value is hello, to this demo method, and this value, it will be captured in this string variable yes. So this is how you will be passing. If you want to pass any other values, just give comma, and here when you are allocating that value, you just give the data type. Suppose here I want to pass integer variable. Suppose I am passing 10 over here, which is of type int. That 10 value, integer value, I'll be storing it in some other variable a. I can access this 10 value using this variable a. So this is how we pass values. Don't worry if you are not able to get the concept, we'll discuss it later. So this is how we pass the values. And once it is the result, you have to get it. You have to return it to this. So use the return type as integer. Now we have used the return type as void. just use int. Just give a try. Don't worry if you're not able to get also. I just want you to give a try. Use the return type as int and return some value. And return some value here. Okay. Just give a try. Don't worry. We'll discuss it in the next session.